welcome to Beverly Hills Magazine. I'm Jacqueline Maddison, founder and editor-in-chief. Today we have a very special guest, Will Ward, who is founder of Fourward, a global management, production, and business development company with offices in Los Angeles, Nashville, New York, and Melbourne. Will Ward began his career as an agent, a trainee in CAA in Nashville's music department. And then following his stint at CAA, which is a creative artists agency, Will Ward was recruited by WME, now Endeavor, to be a motion picture talent agent. And he worked with Adam Sandler, Dustin Hoffman, Edward Norton, among many others. And he's recently co-founded and a successful chain of restaurants in New York called Otto's Tacos. He's also launched Center, which is a health and wellness and fitness app with his current client, Chris Hemsworth, with one of the largest private equity firms in the world. And he's currently the head of his company, Fourward Ventures, which is an investment company, a production company, a management company. And with clients such as Chris and Liam Hemsworth, Cobie Smulders, Aisha Tyler, Alice Braga, and musical talent as well, including Elliphant, Abby Anderson, Zac Brown Band, and many, many others. So I am extremely excited to welcome Will to the show today to get up close and personal with him, Hollywood off the record. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm an hour ahead, so.
Oh, okay. Thanks so much for taking the time today. I'm sure it's a busy day.
Of course, no problem. Yeah, we I don't know, I told you, we a couple days after that event, we moved to Aspen for the summer.
Oh, sweet.
I just, everyone's out of town in LA on summer vacation. And so, I figured, and we could live here and the weather's perfect. And you get, it's incredible that just the people that we, get to spend time with, and, we have a ton of friends here, and there's just always something to do. So it's actually too much to do. You have to remind yourself you're not on vacation when you're living here for 2 months, because you'll go out to dinner every night, and you'll start, having your wine at 5 every day, and you're like, whoa, I'm not on vacation.
You'll forget to work.
Yeah, but I've been pretty good so far.
Well,
but how are you?
I'm really good, just busy as ever. I mean, obviously I have the magazine, but I'm also a real estate broker, so I manage that business and just got a lot going on. Yeah, but I'm excited to interview you, obviously, for the publication. I also wanted to see if you had a chance to review the investment package I sent you, or, we can discuss that another time. But
yeah, I hadn't. I apologize, I have not, but I will.
Okay, yeah, no problem, no problem.
Okay.
So let's get started.
Is it okay? Is this light too bad in the background? I'm sorry. Is that?
Let me see. No, it's okay, but.
Let me try to shut the window a little bit.
Okay.
Is that better?
Let me see. I have to see you on screen. Yeah, a little better. It's fine.
Okay.
I would recommend taking your glasses off though, because there's yeah,
Okay.
That's perfect. That does the trick.
No problem. I just can't see you, but.
That's okay. You don't, yeah, it's fine. As long as you can hear me.
Okay.
So I will lead us and just, follow my lead. So, Will Ward, thank you so much for being with me today. Welcome to the Beverly Hills Magazine podcast. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Jacqueline?
Doing well, doing well. So you're a top Hollywood executive. You're currently managing clients such as Chris Hemsworth, his brother Liam, Aisha Tyler, Cobie Smulders, and musical artists Elliphant, Zac Brown Band, and many more. You're a talent agent, or you've been a talent agent, and you recently exited the company Roar, and you've launched your own TV film music management firm called Fourward. So I just want to congratulate you on all your hard-earned success, and tell us what inspired you to originally become a Hollywood agent and talent manager?
Well, I'll tell you. First of all, I've started to seg out of management a little bit, but we'll get to that in a second. But I I was going into investment banking originally, and I was 2 weeks away from graduating, and I read an article on Michael Ovitz when he was on the cover of Business Week, and it said Michael Ovitz already rules Hollywood. Now he makes a play for Madison Avenue and Wall Street, and I thought, wait a minute, what? That's a job? And that was it. That was and I was dead set on getting in the mailroom at CAA, and that's where I started.
Wow. So you were inspired instantly. So what has been the most challenging thing about being an agent or manager in the business?
Most challenging. I mean, I think it's very cutthroat. In the agent world, you're constantly watching over your shoulder while you're trying to grow your clients' careers, because there's someone else trying to steal your client, and that's just sort of the nature of the agent world. I think as a manager, I mean, it was challenging to sort of start over because all my big clients as an agent had managers. So when I went out to start the management company, Roar, it was, I was really building it from scratch. And then I think, there's other challenges along the way. There's a lot of challenges today in the entertainment business. It's just not, I was talking to a big producer the other day, and we were talking about the business today, and he looked at me and said, it's just not fun anymore. And I said, you know what, that's exactly right. It's lost the fun. And, and you watch what's going on with the strike right now. It's really, as much as the writers have a great, position, I mean, I think they're coming from the right place, but also doing some what I will believe will be some irreparable damage to the business. So
yeah, in a way, working against themselves.
Yeah.
Because shifts and changes are going to happen during the strike that are going to affect them.
Well, I mean, at the very least, they could have extended the deadline while they're negotiating. I don't think they needed to shut the business down.
Right.
But, we'll see where it goes. But last time, this is when we invented reality television. And that was a real shot in the foot to the writers themselves. So, no one talks about that. I don't understand it. And the streamers have created a business model that's just not as fun as the old one was, I say. But yeah, so there's constantly challenges. They're sort of evolving along the way.
I suppose you find the fun in dealing with the clients themselves, the relationships. I suppose that would be the most enjoyable.
Certainly depends on the client, obviously, but
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been fun to grow some big careers.
Absolutely.
But now chart new territory. So
yeah, well, that's my next question. Sort of, what is the most rewarding part of what you do?
Well, the most rewarding part. I mean,
maybe it's financial. I don't know. Maybe it is personal. Whatever.
Yeah, I think look. There's definitely a reward when you're building a client's career. I always used to say, like, I dread the day when they get to the top, because then you're spinning plates,
Right.
And when the couple of clients that sort of were really at the top of their game, there were times where we'd have conversations that were like, oh boy, I think this is where it's, because there's kind of nowhere you can't, at some point you can't keep going up, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something I always, the climb is the rewarding thing for me. It's fun to see someone, keep climbing to the top. But now I think the rewarding thing for me now is really being able to focus on building some companies, because we started incubating businesses, and then I've launched this venture capital fund, and that's a lot of fun. So now it's really the rewarding part is taking advantage of the world that I've grown up in, and then I've built so many relationships, not just in Hollywood, but Silicon Valley, Wall Street, and being able to pull all that together to do something bigger, I would say.
Yeah, that's right. With your new venture Fourward, you're investing in many different spaces, not just media and entertainment. So what projects and investments are most exciting to you at this point? Because you have so many options.
Yeah, look, we had great success with Center, which was the fitness app that Chris Hemsworth and I built together. And that was a big win, because we built it, launched it, and then sold it less than 3 years after launch.
Amazing.
High Post, the Bezos family office. I worked on another big deal with a massive movie star that ultimately fell apart after the deal was signed for reasons I won't get into. But it was fortuitous in the fact that it's created some other opportunities. And then we're launching a female-focused energy drink that I'm very excited about. I'm about to announce a partnership with one of the true titans in the spirits industry to do Celebrity Banded alcohols. You probably can figure out who that is, Jacqueline.
Right.
You may have met him.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's really exciting. And then the VC stuff is great because we're getting so much deal flow. And we vetted in the past year over 460 companies, all within the verticals that fit within our wheelhouse. And we've invested in 9, and I'm proud of all 9 of them. I feel like we have winners in all 9. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, you're definitely on a amazing trajectory with your company. So what makes your business different from others of its kind, other VC companies that perhaps, when businesses come to you and they're seeking funding, what sets you apart?
I think our access. I think that we also have a track record with the CEOs and founders of other companies who will be the first to go on record and say that they've seen us contribute more than any other VC they've worked with. So that's a nice calling card for us to be able to tell a company like, hey, talk to the founders of the other companies we invested in if you want to know. We rarely have had any pushback. I think the only time we couldn't get in a deal was one where we just weren't in a position to write a big enough check because I was still writing the checks out of my own pocket before we'd raised money.
Right.
And they wanted a much bigger check, but and so that was one where we just sort of sat out on, and I'm kind of glad we did because I look back at it and the company's not doing that well. So that worked out for us. But the 9 that we have invested in are doing very well, and that's exciting. So
definitely. So what has been one of, if not the greatest lesson you've learned on your success journey? The ups and downs, the goods, the bads, the highs, the lows.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going to have success, you're going to get knocked down, and I've started over 3 times, to be honest. Actually 1, 2, 3. I mean, kind of 4 now. And so that's that's hard. I think some of my family looked at me and said, "What are you doing? Why would you mess with the success you have?" And I go, "Well, I want to do something different." And I always I want to challenge myself. And I'm a case study of ADD, which is an overprescribed thing, but I actually, and so for me, I have to be doing 10 different things, not one. So I could never sit behind a desk and draft contracts all day. I would die.
Right.
And so for me, I've got to have 10, 20 things going on at once. And
that's great. So it's actually your skill set and ability to multitask at that high level is perfect for your current position, to be able to manage multiple investments, multiple companies, and it's exciting, and it keeps you in a momentum in several different directions. I'm like that too. I very much like to have many things going on, and I love to multitask. The Lord God, he gave me an amazing piece of advice. He said, don't underestimate what one person can do. And ever since I had that piece of wisdom, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, there are no limitations to ourselves and our personal output. You create your own limitations.
Sure.
So how do you balance your professional and your personal life? You've got so much going on professionally, and I believe you're married, you have children, a family. How do you balance it?
You just figure it out. I mean, honestly, it's like when I first had children with my ex-wife, she was an agent, and when I was a manager, she was an agent, and we both had pretty, big careers. And, we figured it out. And it was like with the children, it was about quality of time, not quantity of time.
Right.
And, I just, for Father's Day, I got notes from all my kids, and the one through line in all of the notes was, Dad, you always make life such an adventure and everything is so fun. And so
Oh,
I felt like that was like the ultimate compliment, that they're not like,
yeah,
I wish I
yeah.
got to see you more often, or, I never get that. It's just and then my wife is with me all the time. So we're just always together. So
It's
we,
beautiful.
I mean, I'm sure there are times when she would love for me to be off the phone at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m.
Right.
When I'm calling Australia or Dubai or, but she's a real trooper with that too. So
That's important to be able to have
yeah,
your life partner actually supporting what you do.
yeah.
So what piece of advice would you give to other entrepreneurs, people who want to venture out on their own and then have, don't quite have the courage to do it like you have many times?
I think you just have to be willing to pick up. Like I said, you're going to get knocked down, and you just got to be strong, because you're not going to always win. You're going to fail sometimes. And that's just part of being an entrepreneur. And I think that, it takes a certain mentality. It's not something when you're going out and starting a business on your own, it's not like you can't do it like, because, hey, this might be a good idea. It's, I have to do this. And
Right.
you need to, like, I was, an agent at Endeavor and working with some of the biggest movie stars in the world. And I would wake up in the morning to go to work and go, I don't really want to go to work today. And it was strange. And I was confused. And I thought, what is going on with me?
Mm.
And I started to finally come to terms with the fact that I didn't really love working for other people. Um,
Right.
and so, because for a while I was like, why don't I love my job? This is everything I always wanted.
Hmm.
And I loved it for a while. And then, but there came a time where, I just got really, I just wasn't enjoying it as much.
Yeah.
And I can't, and that's what I mean, I knew I wanted to go out and start my own company from before I got in the business, but it really took effect when I was really starting to get my career off to a huge start. And that's when I, hung up being an agent and went off to start a company from scratch. And that's where some of my family, my mother in particular, was like, what are you doing? And I said, this is what I got to do. And I did,
Yeah.
and it worked. So I guess, the other thing I would say to entrepreneurs is just think outside the box. Like, if
Yeah.
you're gonna go out and start a company, you better, make the best product or best service, and you better figure out what differentiates it from what else is out there. Because
Right.
if it's just another carbon copy of something that's already being done, you're gonna have a lot harder time explaining to investors and to consumers why yours is so great. So you got to think outside the box and come up with your angle for what it is you're building.
Absolutely. And in hindsight, I've learned that, failures or setbacks, they're not really failures because they always ended up being stepping stones to my next opportunity. So when we recognize them as that and we take the time to reassess or reflect, we can actually utilize those times as launching pads, which it seems you have done so as well.
Sure.
Now, have you discovered a personal purpose in what you do? I feel like that there's this cliche, oh yeah, I've got to find my purpose. Has that something you feel you've discovered yet at this time in your life, or not yet?
Look, I think one thing was COVID made me realize that one problem with this business is, or with the management side, is you're not building equity.
Mm,
And so I think one thing that I really, and after, building Center and stuff and realizing how much more valuable equity can be, particularly in an exit. But there's some, there's more security there, but to have the spigot turned off the way it was in the pandemic, it was a little strange. I also think that we try to, like with a VC firm, what we've done is we have committed to giving 10% of our net carry or net profits to 3 different charities that have a real purpose. One that supports women entrepreneurs, one that supports educating inner city neighborhoods with teaching them real life skills that you don't learn in school, like financial responsibility and whatnot. And
that's
then another
fantastic.
that's pretty well known on Kiva that microlends money to third world country entrepreneurs. And then, of our portfolio companies, 5 are co-founded or founded and led by women, and 3 are co-founded or founded by diverse entrepreneurs. So that's something we're proud of too. So we want to think how we can do good things and make a lot of money.
Exactly. That's tremendously impactful. Like myself, I've launched a charitable foundation called the God Foundation. GOD is Gifts of Devotion. So we support orphanages, and we're building. I just purchased 3 acres of land in Uganda, so we can build a orphanage, a school, and a church over there within the community. So absolutely, it's about not only us reaching our goals and our dreams and helping others do so, but always lending the hand to the less fortunate.
Yeah.
So if you could have one supernatural superpower, Will, what would it be?
Probably it would be, it's funny. I was thinking about this like a couple of weeks ago for some reason. And I had a good one, and I can't remember what it was.
Was it to fly? Sometimes I have dreams that I'm flying.
I dream a lot that I can fly.
That's awesome. Actually, that
that's
spiritually means that you have spiritual freedom. I love my dreams when I fly.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign.
I have that a lot. I think, I don't know, to be able to go back in time would be to be able to jump time, and go back and come back, would be kind of an incredible thing for many reasons. But yeah,
that's a good one, actually, to be able to go back and maybe change things.
yeah.
Very cool. So another question: how has God played a hand in your life? Like little God winks, like something happened and you're just like, I knew that was like God, a saving grace, or he was helping me out on that one. I call them God winks.
I mean, for me, Jacqueline, I grew up in the church, but I don't personally necessarily believe. I've seen a lot of people who have attributed things to God, and then I'm like, it's like when a quarterback, after a game he wins, he goes, I just want to thank the Lord for helping me win this game. I'm like, what did he have against the other quarterback? And so I mean, he may have been praying too. I don't, so I think that, I've just always felt that God's, got enough going on, and that he's not controlling every individual one of our destinations. And I've certainly seen some people that are amazing people and devoutly religious who have gotten, the shorthand. And I don't think that's God doing that. So I think we create our destinations. We need to just, our fate to some degree is a part of how we lean into what we do. And then there are consequences that come with it. And it's really what we do with those, and how we handle that is can be the result of where we end up.
Yeah, like my dad always told me, every decision you make affects the rest of your life. And so if you don't like where you are or what's going on in your life, you have to make different decisions. And that does put a lot of accountability on yourself to take responsibility for your decisions and the result of them.
Sure.
So,
and I do believe that as I get older, that there's a lot of things that happen that for a reason. And I don't think I ever thought that before. So something can go wrong, and all of a sudden something really good comes out of it.
That's how I feel. And that's why, Will, I now say everything. I believe everything happens for a good reason. Because when in hindsight in my life, when bad things have happened, like you just said, they ended up being blessings in disguise because good things came out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's a good perspective to have on life when things don't necessarily go your way. So finally, who or what are some of your biggest inspirations?
Well, I mean, Mike Ovitz was a huge inspiration for me when I first got in the business. I mean, I was just, I thought he was God, and And I, I think my children are a huge inspiration.
Yeah.
They, my son came out here the other day to Aspen, and he said, "Dad, I've got a headline gig at Gala, which is this really high end nightclub here, and they have big name DJs." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Yeah, well, I DM'd them and I went by there and I played them music for the woman." And she hired me,
awesome.
And most other nights they had 2 or 3 DJs, and he had a 4-hour set.
Wow.
I was just proud to see him at 20 going out and creating his own opportunity. So that inspires me, because not just because he's doing that, but because it makes me feel like I did a great job in raising him to be self-sufficient and independent. So
Exactly.
And then there's a lot of other people I look up to. I think, you got to look at Elon Musk and what he's done. And, I wish he kept his mouth shut more often, but he's
my fellow South African. I'm also from South Africa.
Oh, you are? Yeah. Okay. But he's, that guy's almost gone bankrupt like 5 times, and he's started some very different businesses, that are brilliant. And
no risk, no reward. You got to go for it.
I mean, if you look, the only mistake he's really made was Trump buying a business he didn't start, and it remains to be seen if it's a true mistake, but I think it's probably going to go down as a bad move. But I can't believe what he's done so far with what else he's,
Yeah, definitely.
Tesla to SpaceX, pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, you seem to be following in similar footsteps, investing in various platforms and industries and taking risks. So you're on a similar trajectory in terms of investments and taking advantage of opportunities that come your way as an entrepreneur, really.
Maybe not quite at that level, but yeah, sure.
Well, you never know.
Never know.
So what's next for Fourward?
Well, there's 3 Forwards. There's Fourward Inc., which is the management side, which is, scaled down a bit because I've not as on that as, so focus on a lot of the VC stuff. But Fourward Music, which is a publishing company, and we also have a record label. We've got some great management clients on the music side that we're very excited about, that have big futures ahead of them. And then Fourward Ventures, and also in Fourward Inc. is that whole incubation business. That's something that's really exciting to me, is building more businesses. And I mentioned the partnership that I'll be announcing for celebrity, which is something I'm super excited about. And then for Ventures, the fund, it's to keep, we still haven't closed all our money yet, so we're raising the rest of the money. This has not been the most fun environment to raise money in, but it's a great time to be at VC right now because we're finding some great deals. But we, we're going to get to where we can by 1 year after we close on our first money, which will be October 28th. And then we will close the fund regardless of where we are, and then get ready for fund 2, which will be a much bigger fund. So that's
super exciting. Well, I'm excited about what's in store for you. And also, how we can possibly work together. I want to thank you for your time. I'm going to wrap the podcast up, and we can have a further conversation after. But I want to thank you so much for your time and being with us, Will, and wish you tremendous success in all your future ventures.
Thanks so much.